Right now at 7, Missouri makes history with the first nationally known execution of a transgender woman, and protesters make their voices heard.
Also, Kansas City Southern hosts a hiring fair in Pittsburgh where they hope to find some engineers.
And it's another chilly start for us across the area, but as that says, it's almost like springtime in January. We'll tell you about your forecast and some weekend rain chances coming up.
4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Carrie Worthen. A Missouri inmate was put to death on Tuesday for a 2003 killing in what is believed to be the first execution of a transgender woman in the U.S. 49-year-old Amber McLaughlin was convicted of stalking and killing a former girlfriend, then dumping the body near a Mississippi River in St. Louis. Danielle Almaty hears from protesters who say the execution perpetuates the cycle of violence.
I try not to be angry or mad, but I have a lot of righteous indignation.
Dozens of supporters, including Michelle Smith with Missourians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty, stood in solidarity outside the prison, forming a prayer circle as 49-year-old Amber McLaughlin was executed. Back in 2003, Amber was Scott McLaughlin, who was accused and later convicted of raping and murdering Beverly Gunther in Earth City. Scott transitioned while in prison, chose to identify as Amber.
Amber was never sentenced to death by a jury. A judge did this, and so we believe that judges, one person, should not have that sort of power.
Missouri Governor Mike Parson stands by his decision to deny McLaughlin clemency ahead of Tuesday's execution. In this statement given to News 4, the governor says McLaughlin's conviction and sentence remains after multiple thorough examinations of Missouri law. McLaughlin stalked, raped, and murdered Miss Gunther. McLaughlin is a violent criminal.
Just the death penalty as a whole, to strip someone of their humanity and make a choice of retribution is it's disgraceful.
Michaela Joy Kramer calls the death row inmate a friend. The two spoke Monday night, less than 24 hours before McLaughlin's execution.
I have a special connection to Amber because of our shared experience, but I mean, KJ was murdered, a couple months ago, and we have more coming up. This isn't about her being transgender. This is just the part that I can really find her humanity.
This country executes the innocent, the mentally ill, the intellectually disabled. There is no stopping, or there is no point of which this state will not kill someone. But we will continue amplifying these cases.
Correctional officers told protesters the execution was completed at 6:47 p.m. Family, friends, and supporters gathered at Carthage High School as some area National Guard members prepare to head overseas. The 294th Engineer Company will deploy to the Horn of Africa. Their mission will be to conduct construction projects. We talked with one soldier who is proud to serve his country with his fellow soldiers, even though it's a tough time to leave family.
It's the first time I've ever been deployed. I actually just got married this year and found out we're gonna have a boy this year in May.
It's a tradition during the ceremony. The oldest soldier in the unit will be in charge of carrying the American flag throughout the deployment and returning it safely, and the youngest soldier will do the same thing with the Missouri state flag. We'll tell you more about the send-off later in the show. Kansas City Southern hopes to welcome you aboard. The rail company hosted a hiring fair in Pittsburgh looking for conductors to be a part of the train crew. They said it takes the right sort of person.
Big group of people. It's a revolving transportation industry, so we're looking for people that are open-minded, strong-willed, quick on their feet. These conductors that we hire are out on the road 24/7, and they encounter different issues along the way. So a person that's just handy on their feet.
Pay for that position averages around $65,000. The Carthage, Missouri School District hosted a meet and greet with the district's new superintendent. The Carthage Board of Education announced Dr. Luke Boyer from Conway, Missouri accepted the position. He will replace Dr. Mark Baker, who served as superintendent for 6 years.
It's my 23rd year in education, 17 years in administration. So I think there's an experience that I can bring to the table. Looking to be just pretty collaborative. I think Dr. Baker's established a great team of administrators for me to really just lean on.
Boyer's contract begins on July 1st. To learn more about Dr. Luke Boyer, download the KOAM News Now app.
All right, we got a cold start for us across the area. Look at the MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline. We're looking pretty good. You can't tell it's cold, but it is. Same with our 7th and Rangeline camera. It's looking pretty good. We got clear skies out there. And something we do want to mention, so yesterday morning we had shown you this particular photo of the possible tornado near Fairland, Oklahoma. And the way the system pulled it in, the way I interpreted it, is that it came from Justin Aaron, when in reality it was actually taken by storm chaser Stephanie Maynard. Now, she was chasing this storm with her husband. They actually took video of it and managed to get this still photo where you could actually see the tornado, but it was Stephanie Maynard who took this photo, and we're not perfect. We sometimes make mistakes, and we want to make sure that Stephanie gets the appropriate credit for this incredible image and for being out there chasing these storms to help keep the public safe and ahead of the severe weather. Here in the area, no severe weather to contend with for the next several days, thankfully. We're at 30 in Joplin, feeling like 22 with a west-southwest breeze at about 8 miles an hour. And across the area, again, it's a cold start. 28 Iola, Fort Scott, and Parsons, 30 Chetopa, Miami, 31 Neosho, and 30 in Lamar and Carthage. And you factor in that light breeze, feels like 20 in Iola, 27 Parsons, 26 Miami, feels like 24 in Carthage, and 20 up in Nevada. MoDOT camera looking pretty good at I-44 and Rangeline, and kids should already be on the bus. I forgot to uncheck that box. So let's see. Today we're heading for a high of 44 degrees. We'll have the winds out of the west at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Could be gusting upwards of 25, but otherwise mostly clear. And as we head into this evening, we're going to drop back down to a low of 32 under partly cloudy skies. As we look at the 7-day, 48 tomorrow. Clouds start building in. Weak cold front Saturday, bringing us some shower chances, mainly in our northern counties, up to 50, down to 33. 46 Sunday, and then once we get into next week, look at that, a return to the 50s, 10 to 15 degrees above our normal high for this time of year.
Up next, 2 major pharmaceutical chains have agreed to start offering abortion pills. We got the details.
And we're going to take another look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 returns.
In Health Watch this morning, First Lady Jill Biden will undergo a procedure to remove a skin lesion next week. Biden administration officials say it was found during a routine skin cancer screening. The lesion, which is above Miss Biden's right eye, will be removed through a procedure called Moss surgery. That's an outpatient surgery where thin layers of skin are cut away to remove cancerous tissues. The surgery will happen January 11th at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. At 71 years old, Jill Biden is the oldest sitting First Lady in modern American history, but remains in good health, exercising several times a week. CVS and Walgreens have agreed to sell an abortion pill in their pharmacies where it is legal under state law. That follows an important regulatory change from the Food and Drug Administration. The drug mifepristone is the first of 2 drugs administered in the medical abortion regimen. Previously, it was only available through mail-order pharmacies or from specifically certified doctors or clinics. With the new FDA regulation, women will still need a prescription, but the number of pharmacies that can offer the drug will be more widely available as long as they follow rules that put in place by the FDA. Walgreens says it will be the process to have its pharmacies certified under the FDA rules, which includes training of its pharmacists. CVS is taking the same action, saying it plans to sell mifepristone where it is legally permissible. As we start 2023, many health experts believe watching out for the new coronavirus variants will be increasingly important to slow the spread of COVID-19 in the new year. This is Omicron subvariants continue to circulate around the world. Manny Gaither has more on why many are turning to their attention to surge in cases in China.
In the U.S., Omicron subvariants are still the cause of almost all COVID-19 infections. While Omicron spreads easily, CDC data shows it causes less severe illness and death in general than earlier variants.
I hope it continues in that direction, but there's no guarantee.
The latest Omicron subvariant now accounts for more than 40% of U.S. COVID-19 cases. Offshoots continue to spread globally as well, especially in China after the country lifted the bulk of its COVID restrictions. The surge there has prompted the U.S. to require a negative COVID test for all travelers from China beginning January 5th.
The Chinese government is not sharing the genetic information about these viruses with the rest of the world.
That's why some health experts say this travel requirement is important, as new variants are likely to emerge in the future.
Perhaps, worst case scenario, a variant that could evade the protection of our current vaccines and therapeutics.
Others believe the U.S. testing requirements for travelers won't prevent new COVID-19 cases from coming to the U.S. or new variants from emerging, but it may buy the U.S. some time.
But it's something that we can do to help protect the citizens of the United States.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
While COVID-19 levels remain far below those of prior surge trends, are on the rise in parts of the U.S., and there's a growing concern that case numbers could soar now that we've passed the winter holidays.
And it doesn't really feel like winter out there. Don't get me wrong, it is cold, but it's not feeling like winter. It's almost feeling like early spring. We got 44 for our high today. We will be mostly clear as we go through the day, and we're looking at winds from the west at about 5 to 10, gusting upwards at 25, so be aware of that today. Make it feel a little bit cooler. Winds will calm down later tonight and will be partly cloudy and drop back down to a low of 32 degrees. As we head into the weekend, we're watching a weak cold front that's going to make its way in here on Saturday. Could bring us some morning showers to our northern counties. We will make it to 50, and then we'll get on the backside of this, and we're going to cool down a little bit. Hence, it's a weak front. We make it back up to 46 on Sunday under mostly cloudy skies, and we can actually see that system as we head in. So clouds will start to increase tomorrow. As you can see, by tomorrow morning, we got mostly cloudy skies out there, and then Saturday early morning, there's the spin from the actual low pressure system tied to this cold front, and it pretty much parks itself right on top of us. And we've got the rain chances in our northern counties. As the day progresses, the rain chances should start to clear out, and you see wintry precipitation up by Kansas City. Thankfully, that's not going to be an issue for us down here, but again, we will cool off a little bit. We're up to 48 tomorrow with those mostly cloudy skies, and what I mean by cool off, we go from the 50 back down to 33 for an overnight low on Saturday night. And then as we head into next week, take a look at this. 10 to 15 degrees above average on these highs as we soar back into the 50s for the first half of the next work week. We're back with more right after this. Before the pandemic, Shenango Forks Elementary School introduced the concept of reading with a retriever for students. Once a sense of normalcy came back to the district, so did the idea of having a therapy dog within the school halls. And now as students come back from winter break, so does soon-to-be 11-year-old Otto on every day 4 in the school's calendar to meet with a group of students. Jill Croce takes us there.
Meet Otto, a therapy dog for Shenango Forks Elementary School. The school psychologist, Joelle Pelt, is Otto's owner.
I just kind of knew he had a good disposition to be able to calm people down, to provide love, affection.
And so to pass testing to be an official therapy dog, he went through Bright and Beautiful therapy dogs.
And once he passed that, then he's able to go into schools, he's able to go into hospitals, really any other place that a therapy dog can go.
When it comes to Shenango Forks, the soon-to-be 11-year-old chocolate lab is no stranger to these halls. For some time now, he has been a part of the school's Reading with a Retriever program.
And when they read to him, he's non-judgmental. He provides just a calm, non-judgmental presence that the kids often feel, and they become much more confident in their reading. Really over the course of the 5 to 6 weeks.
Otto has a number of hats within the school, and Pelt says the chocolate lab also helps students with attendance and helps students open up during therapy sessions.
Students who I have not been able to make a lot of therapeutic progress with, he is just able to calm the whole situation down. I notice students want to walk with him in the hallway. It's a bit of a privilege to meet with Otto.
Student Conway Mallory is now 16 years old, but when he was younger, he benefited from the reading concept.
Consistently, I was a better reader because of him. I had more opportunities to read while in school, and it was less of work and more of something entertaining because there was like a dog involved, and that always makes it more fun.
Pelt says she has a second dog at home and would love for the younger one to follow in Otto's footsteps with being a therapy dog. An excellent program up there. We've got some pretty decent weather. I know it's cold, but it's actually not too bad for this time of year. We're at 30 in Joplin, feeling like 22 with a west-southwest breeze at 8. And across the region, and it is a cold start, 28 Iola, Fort Scott, 29 Nevada, Yates Center, 29 Independence, 30 Chetopa, Miami, and 31 in Neosho in Monette. You factor in that light breeze we've got, it feels like 20 in Iola, 23 Chanute, 26 in Miami, feels like 22 in Lamar. And as we go through the rest of today, we'll see winds start gusting upwards of about 20, 25 miles an hour, so do be aware of that. Outside of that, though, we've got mostly clear skies. We'll reach for a high of about 44 degrees today. And as we head into this evening, the winds will calm down. We'll start to see some partly cloudy skies. And we'll drop back down to near freezing for our overnight low. Weak cold front coming in on Saturday could bring some morning showers to our northern counties. We will make it up to 50, but on the backside of that system, we'll cool down a bit, hence that it's a weak cold front. We'll make it back up to 46 on Sunday, mostly cloudy both of those days. And as we look at the 7-day forecast, you can see what we got to deal with here. 48 Friday, clouds start to increase. We get through the weekend, and then look at the start of the next work week. 55 Monday, 51 Tuesday, and up to 52 Wednesday. We do get another system here on Thursday. Knocks our temperatures back down to 48, still above normal, but down a bit. We'll have some morning showers, and once that system gets on out of here, check out Friday and Saturday of next week as we return to the mid-50s. Our temperatures, for the most part, over the next several days are anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees above normal. Because bear in mind, we should be in the lower 40s, if not 40 for the most part. And as we look at our overnight lows, they're primarily above freezing, and that puts them 5 to 10 degrees above normal, as we should be back in the upper 20s. We got a lot more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero. Lieutenant Loring Smith, the Joplin, Missouri native, served from 1950 to 1954 as a Marines communication lieutenant in Korea during the Korean conflict. To Lieutenant Loring Smith, we thank you, today's four-state hero. Family members, friends, and supporters gathered at Carthage High School as some area National Guard members prepare to head overseas.
KOAM was there and talked with a soldier and his family.
Mothers, daughters, sons, and husbands, like Franklin Queen, are just some of the Missouri National Guardsmen deploying to the Horn of Africa.
It's the first time I've ever been deployed. I actually just got married this year and found out we're going to have a boy this year in May.
I don't think it's really hit me fully yet, just because it's been a whirlwind. I think once we actually leave today, it's going to be a lot more stressful, especially because we have our little one on the way.
These soldiers underwent countless hours of training to prepare for deployment overseas.
So they actually started the preparation about a year ago, and they go through several their annual training events, and then they get evaluated prior to, and they just spent the last 3 weeks doing their final evaluation.
The 294th Engineer Company's mission is to conduct construction projects.
It's harder on the families staying here than it is on the soldiers going forward in a lot of cases.
I can't even tell you how proud I am.
This is a really big moment for a lot of people, and I'm proud to go and represent the Missouri National Guard and the United States Army over in Africa.
The National Guard could not comment on specifics about the deployment, but did say they'll be there through the fall and winter of 2023.
That's got to be an incredibly difficult time. You interviewed the family that they've got a child on the way. That's got to be tough, knowing that you're not going to be here for that, and knowing from her end that her husband will not be here for that event. So.
And I was related. I didn't relate to her, but I can understand where she said it hasn't hit me yet, because when they leave there, he's going to be gone and she's going to be by herself, and I felt my heart went out to her.
I imagine it takes a few days because I'm sure they're used to him being off for training.
Yes.
Even if it's local, he's off for training for a few days. So, there's that expectation. But I think, as time goes on, it'll really set in that they are going to be gone for a while. So hopefully they all remain safe while they're on that deployment.
Yes.
We got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. A suspect lead Newton County Police on a high-speed chase Tuesday night. Speeds topped 105 miles per hour. Authorities say the suspect left the car near Jacob Lane and ran into Shoal Creek. And police believe that the person crossed Shoal Creek where the railroad tracks were. Authorities asked the train to stop in case the suspect tried to hop on. The chase began near Downstream Boulevard of a suspected DWI driver. The chase passed through several drop-in streets. At last report, the suspect had not been found since, but did leave items in the car that might identify who he is. The city of Katy, Kansas finally gets some good news as officials rescind the water boil advisory dealing with issues that started on Christmas Day. Officials say the boil advisory stemmed from a low water pressure in the disruption system. Because of this low pressure, materials were clogging filters, making it harder for water to pass through the filtering process. The extreme cold temperatures added the problems at the water plant and by freezing pipes. The Carthage, Missouri School District hosted a meet and greet with the district's new superintendent. The Carthage Board of Education announced Dr. Luke Boyer from Conway, Missouri accepted the position. He'll replace Dr. Mark Baker, who served as superintendent for 6 years.
I think through to the students, I'm going to be as many activities this spring as I possibly can be, getting to know the students that way. Probably not going to have too many big opportunities, but just being here as much as I can be.
Boyer's contract begins on July 1st. To learn more about Dr. Luke Boyer, download the KOAM News Now app. The Shoal Creek Conservation Center in Joplin is preparing to host a kids' birding event. Young nature enthusiasts can learn about birds and help collect information on the local bird populations on Saturday. At the Kids' Christmas Bird Count, MDC staff and experienced birders will lead monitored bird viewing opportunities.
Because the great thing about birding is that you can do it wherever you are. You can do it in your own backyard, you can do it at a nature center, you can even do it as you drive down the road. So, they might come to the bird count and count the cardinals and count the chickadees, and then in their own backyard say, hey, there's a cardinal.
To learn how to get involved with the conservational event, download the KOAM News Now app. Millions of Americans started to work from home during the pandemic. Now many employers want to work back into the office, but managers are being met with some pushback. Christian Benavides reports.
For a few months during the pandemic, Celine De Silva worked from home, but her employer eventually brought her back to the office, and she went back to her daily hour-long commute until one day she had enough.
How did you tell them, I'm not coming back?
I started by telling them I wanted to be independent.
For De Silva, that meant working remotely.
They couldn't offer me that.
She's part of a growing number of workers who would rather resign than return to the office. In a new survey by Fiverr, an online marketplace for freelancers, 42% of workers said they'd consider quitting if forced to be back in the office full-time. That's at odds with what the survey shows companies want. Nearly 70% of large company executives and managers want their employees in the office 5 days a week.
Basically, managers want things to go back to 2019.
Micha Kaufman is Fiverr's CEO.
About a third of the managers want employees to return in order to monitor them. Then about a quarter of those managers want employees to return to ensure that they take shorter breaks.
De Silva now does freelance jobs from home. She's making more money, but working more.
For some people, you leave work at the office, but if your office is at home, what does that mean for you?
Well, I never stop working.
So even if you have to work more, the flexibility is worth it?
Yeah, totally.
De Silva says the perks of making her own hours and avoiding a commute will keep her from returning to a job in the office. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Hallandale Beach, Florida.
The survey also found that 1 in 5 workers say there's absolutely no incentive that would make them want to return to the office.
Well, it's a little bit on the chilly side for us today. Taking a look at the MoDOT camera at I-44 and Range Line, traffic is moving, always a good thing. And as we look at 7th and Range Line, same situation. Well, this traffic's not moving, but that's because they're obeying the law. That light is red. It means stop, and that's exactly what they're doing. But the cars with the green lights are going, and that's always a plus. And we are still cold, though. 30 degrees in Joplin, as you can see, clear skies out there. Beautiful start to the day, albeit cold. Feels like 22 with a west-southwest breeze at 8 miles an hour. Across the area, again, cold start for us. We got 28 Iola, 31 in Chanute, 30 Chetopa, Miami, Neosho, Carthage, Lamar, and Nevada. And as we factor in the wind, feels like 19 in Iola, 22 in Pittsburgh, 24 Miami, feels like 23 in Carthage this morning. As we go through today, we're going to see a west breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour, but we'll see gusts pushing upwards of 25 miles an hour, so be aware of that. Otherwise, a high of 44. And we'll see mostly clear skies throughout the day, so not a bad day lined up for us whatsoever. And as we head into this evening, the winds will calm down like they did last night. Partly cloudy skies, we drop back down to a low of 32 degrees, so chilly, cold, but not that bad. As we look to the weekend, we have a weak cold front coming in on Saturday. That weak cold front, one of the key words there is weak. We're not looking at a Arctic plunge. I want to emphasize that. But it will get a little cooler. We're up to 50 Saturday, maybe some morning showers in our northern counties, down to 33 Saturday night. So that's the cool part of this thing. And then we're back up to 46 on Sunday. So again, part of that cool factor is we're going to be a little cooler on Sunday than we are Saturday. And we'll have mostly cloudy skies on both days. Let's take a look at the extended forecast now. 48 tomorrow. Clouds begin to increase. Get that system in here. It gets out of here. And look at the start of next week. 10 to 15 degrees above average, by the way, for some of these temperatures. As we kick off the week in the 50s, we'll have a few clouds to contend with, but otherwise not bad. We cool off again by Thursday. As we see a system come in, could bring us some shower activity in the morning. And then after that system exits, look, even though it's chilly, we don't get that much colder at night, down to 36. And then we are back to the mid-50s to wrap up next week. But remember, it's still January, it's still winter, and winter's not done with us yet. So enjoy these mild temperatures while you can. Overnight lows also, for the most part, staying above freezing, putting them 5 to 10 degrees above normal as well. And just as a recap, our normal highs are in the lower 40s, our normal lows in the upper 20s. So we're doing pretty good so far. We're back with more right after this. A massive storm known as an atmospheric river is battering California at this hour. Residents are riding out a 1-2 punch of strong winds and nearly a foot of rain in spots. It's the third storm this week. It brings with it the threat of flooding and mudslides, especially in areas still recovering from wildfires. Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency. 2 deaths are already being blamed on the storm. An infant struck by a falling tree in Sonoma County, and a 19-year-old who police say lost control of her car in a patch of standing water about 40 miles west of Sacramento. Jared Hill has the latest.
We have to just evacuate. They just said that the county, just said that we have to leave.
People in this Ventura County RV park had to move quickly to higher ground after forecasters warned the storm could drop up to 10 inches of rain on the area.
We anticipate that this may be one of the most challenging and impactful series of storms to touch down in California in the last 5 years.
This satellite photo shows the monster storm's magnitude. Near Sacramento, roads are still flooded from a New Year's Eve storm that breached levees.
That water comes up real high again with those kind of flows, we're going to start having trouble.
The ground is already so saturated, trees that have endured 3 years of severe drought are toppling over. This one landed on a car in San Francisco. Firefighters rescued the people inside. Wind is also picking up. A gust brought down this gas station awning. There's also concern about widespread power outages.
You don't realize how much you miss when you don't have electricity.
In Montecito, Marco Farrell was ready to evacuate. A storm 5 years ago unleashed a torrent of waist-high mud and debris into his home. This time, he's taking no chances.
We're just going to get out of the way, let nature do its thing, and we'll be back tomorrow.
But through all the dark clouds, there is a silver, snowy lining. The snowpack in the Sierra Nevada mountains, vital to the state's water supply, is now 174% of the average for this date. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Now, on average, the Sierra snowpack supplies about 30% of California's water needs. The above average readings are similar to last January and January of 2013. In both of those cases, though, California saw drought conditions by the end of the year. We're looking pretty good here in our area. We don't have a lot of rain on the way, but we do see a couple of shower chances out there. MoDOT camera I-44 and range line looks good, as does the tower cam at 7th and range line. We're going to be talking about some of the cooler weather that we've got and some of those rain chances when we come back. Taking a look at our MoDOT camera at 7, my gosh, at I-44 in range line. A few more cars out on the highway this morning, but they are moving, always a good thing. 7th and range line also looking pretty good this morning, as you can see. Nary a cloud in the sky. A beautiful start to the day. And in terms of our temperatures, we're at 30 in Joplin right now, feeling like 22 with a west-southwest breeze at 8. So it is on the cold side out there. Across the area, still cold side. 28 Iola, Fort Scott, 30 in Pittsburgh, Miami, Neosho, Carthage, and Lamar. And when we factor in the wind, it feels like 17 in Iola this morning. 27 in Parsons, 25 Miami, feels like 24 in Carthage this morning. As we go through today, we'll see winds gusting potentially as high as 25 miles an hour. Otherwise, a pretty pleasant day. Mostly clear skies, heading for a high of 40 degrees. And as we head into this evening, we're going to drop back down to 32. The winds will calm down and we'll be left with partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, we're up to 48. Clouds begin to increase, and we've got a weak cold front coming in on Saturday. We'll be 50. Could see some morning showers, especially in our northern counties. That clears out down to 33, up to 46 Sunday. Take a look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, 10 to 15 degrees above average as we crawl back up into the 50s. Then we get knocked down a bit on Thursday next week with a system bringing us some rain chances, mostly in the morning. And after that system gets out of here, we return to above average temperatures as we go back to the mid 50s by Friday and Saturday next week. And then overnight lows for the most part here staying above freezing, which puts them 5 to 10 degrees above normal. And just as a recap, our normal high this time of year is in the lower 40s to near upper 30s, and our overnight lows are supposed to be in the mid to upper 20s. So we're well above average. It is still January. It is still winter. So enjoy the mild weather while it's here, because I'm sure Mother Nature isn't quite done with winter in the 4 states. Let's look at your forecast. Now here's Carrie Worthen with Consumer Watch.
There are more job losses ahead for the tech industry. Amazon now says it will cut more than 18,000 jobs this year, a big increase over last year's initial announcement that around 10,000 employees would be laid off. It comes as a cloud computing software company, Salesforce, says it will cut 7,000 from its workforce. Salesforce will also be closing some offices, according to a regulatory filing Wednesday. Regulators in Ireland have slapped Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, with 2 fines totaling over $400 million for online privacy violations. The company is also banned from forcing European users to agree to personalized ads based on their online activity. In a statement, Meta said it's disappointed by the decisions and intends to appeal the rulings and fines. And General Motors is back on top as nation's top auto seller after reporting that it sold 2.27 million vehicles in the U.S. in 2022. GM's 2.5% rise in sales last year was largely driven by purchases of gas-powered trucks and SUVs. The Detroit automaker reclaimed the crown from rival Toyota, which reported 2.1 million vehicle sales last year. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. You may or may not enjoy traveling by bus, but we'll have the story of a bus that you'll probably love because it's not just for people, it's for pups.
Jeannie Moose reports on the doggy bus.
Good morning, Bama.
It definitely isn't a Greyhound bus, but there are hounds in it.
Good morning, Jake.
Nothing but dogs jumping into their assigned seats, attached to leashes rather than seat belts, picking up waiting passengers with wagging tails.
Good morning, Amaru. Would you like a complimentary liver with your bus ride?
Nobody said no.
Jake. Dasher. Gumbo.
This bus is better than an airline.
Excuse you, you already had yours.
The doggy bus
Load up!
is operated by Mo Mountain Mutts in tiny Skagway, Alaska. It's a husband and wife team offering dog training and dog walking.
Do the dogs know their own seat?
Most of them do. The new puppies don't. They'll try to just jump in any seat available until we shuffle them back into the licky puppy corner.
The licky puppy corner? They're practically necking in the back of the bus as they ride to outings.
Yarrow and Otis are tangled.
The bus offers the potential for entanglements, but when we watch them disembark...
Okay, Amaru, Odie, go ahead.
They were better behaved than a busload of kids.
I can't tell you how many of these dogs were monsters before I started working with them.
That's Mo Thompson's own little monster chiming in. Oh sure, some of the passengers are rule breakers.
Excuse me, ma'am, your tail is in the aisle. Ma'am, you're gonna have to adjust your butt.
But there's one seat that's off limits.
Who's honking the horn? Bama!
Bama's ready to trade her dog license for a driver's license.
Excuse me, ma'am, you're not driving. Get out of my seat.
Ginny Mose, CNN.
Hello, everyone.
New York.
Certainly an interesting bus, and it'd probably make for a very interesting bus ride.
Yes, those dogs are very well behaved.
Yes, they are. Better behave, like Jeannie Moose said, better than children on a bus. So,
yes, that's true.
A little easier to deal with. Our temperatures are still going to be a little easier to deal with as we go through the rest of today. We're at 30 right now in Joplin, feel like 22 with a west-southwest breeze at 8 miles an hour. It is a cold one to start. 28 Iola, Fort Scott, 31 Chanute, 30 Chetopa, Miami, Neosho, Carthage, and Lamar. You factor in that wind and even a light breeze making it feel like 17 in Iola, 24 in Columbus, 23 in Neosho, and it feels like 22 in Lamar. Today, we could see wind gusts again pushing about 25 miles an hour. We're heading for a high of 44 degrees under mostly clear skies. Winds calm down tonight. We drop back down to near freezing for our overnight low under partly cloudy skies. As we look at the next several days, it's not really all that bad. Up to 48 tomorrow, some clouds increasing. Weak cold front comes in Saturday, could bring us some morning showers, especially in our northern counties, up to 50, down to 33. That's how weak this cold front is. It's not a significant drop. 46 Sunday, and then look at the beginning of the next work week. We kick off 55, 51, 52. Absolutely gorgeous weather, 10 to 15 degrees above normal. Then we get a little cooler Thursday, still above normal, but cooler. Some morning showers with a system on Thursday of next week. And then once that kicks out of here, look at Friday and Saturday. We are back up into the mid-50s yet again, and overnight lows, for the most part, staying above freezing. We've got a little bit more of the KOAM Morning News when we come back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. House Republicans will try for the third day in a row to elect a speaker after 6 unsuccessful attempts after 2 days. More than a dozen GOP members are keeping California's Kevin McCarthy from reaching a majority of votes. The House cannot swear in its members or begin its day-to-day business until a speaker is elected. Several communities along California's Pacific coast are under evacuation orders as a major storm moves in, the second in less than a week. Already dealing with severe flooding, residents up and down the state preparing for the worst. In Sacramento County, officials say they may not be able to repair the levee system in time, and in San Francisco, the city has exhausted its supply of sandbags. The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students has been extradited from Pennsylvania to face murder charges. Brian Coburg was seen being off the plane late Wednesday. Idaho authorities are expected to release more details about the case once he's officially charged and may unseal the probable cause advocate, which details the evidence against him.
We are looking at a not so bad day today. Winds could gust upwards of 25. Otherwise, we're mostly clear, pushing a high of 44. And as we head through this evening, we'll have some partly cloudy skies. Winds calm down to 32 for our overnight low. We're up to 48 tomorrow. Clouds start to increase. Weak cold front Saturday could bring some morning showers to our northern counties, up to 50. Then down to about 46 on Sunday. And then take a look at the start of next week as temperatures return back to the lower to mid-50s.
A baby on Capitol Hill. Thankfully, he's not making any decisions yet. This little guy is the son of Californian Congressman Jimmy Gomez. With the House Speaker race dragging on, Gomez is navigating his job in Washington along with daddy duty, bringing his 4-month-old son Hodge to work Wednesday. Gomez brought his family to Washington to watch him be sworn into Congress for a 4th term, but that ceremony is on hold until the House Speaker is chosen.
It could be a little bit of a wait, but you know what? I think that 4-month-old could probably make some pretty good decisions if we allowed him to get up there and do a little voting in the House once they select a speaker.
Yes, I think any babies are they're cute and they can persuade people.
They know what they're doing. They've got it figured out before we ever realize they have it figured out.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.